بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. الحمد لله رب العالمین و صلی الله علی سیدنا و نبینا محمد و آله الطاهرین. لا سیما بقیة الله فی الارضین روحی و ارواح العالمین له الفداء. Welcome to our program, The Gate of Knowledge. This is a program in which we talk about one of the sermons of the book Nahjul Balagha, which is a compiled book by Sayyid Radhi, who compiled the sermons, the letters, and the short sayings of the first Imam after the demise of the Prophet, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, Amir al-Mu'mineen, peace be upon him. We talk about a sermon which is named after piety and taqwa, and it has a story. I read the introduction of the khutbah to you and explain some points about the introduction, and then we go ahead. It is related that a companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen called Hammam. Hammam in English means decisive, a person who is serious to follow his objectives. Hammam, who was a man devoted to worship, said to him, "O Amir al-Mu'mineen, describe to me the pious man in such a way as though I see him." Actually, he wanted Amir al-Mu'mineen to describe piety through describing a man of piety thoroughly, in a way as if you are looking at his picture, his portrait, in such a way as though I see him. Amir al-Mu'mineen avoided the reply. It is said, تَثَاقَلَ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ. It was difficult, as if it was difficult for Amir al-Mu'mineen to continue explaining in details the pious man, and said, "O Hammam," in a short way, he said, "O Hammam, fear Allah and perform good acts, because," and then he quoted a verse and an ayah of the Quran, "because verily Allah is with those who guard themselves against evil and those who do good to others." This is Quran, Surah number 16, ayah number 128. Hammam was not satisfied with this and pushed him to speak. He insisted and insisted. Therefore, Amir al-Mu'mineen praised Allah and extolled him and sought his blessings on the Holy Prophet, and then spoke. At the end, we read, when Imam finished his explanation, Hammam sighed and shouted, and he died. And that was the thing caused Amir al-Mu'mineen to be cautious in talking in details about the man of piety. We understand from this introduction, first of all, Hammam, who was a decisive man, and he was looking for knowledge in details, a thorough knowledge about the pious people and their actions and their attributes. One lesson from this is to be serious on the way of God. If you want to be pious, we need to be serious, and we need to seek knowledge about the subject. Therefore, the sermon is addressed to all of us. If we are serious, if we seek knowledge about piety, we need to put ourselves in Hammam's shoes and imagine that we are him, and we listen to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, peace be upon him. And also this shows the authenticity of the knowledge that Amir al-Mu'mineen provided for Hammam and provided to us. Therefore, this sermon is one of the outstanding sermons of Nahjul Balagha that is named Khutbatul Muttaqeen, the sermon of the pious. We start the very beginning of the khutbah and the sermon that Imam provided a background for his explanation. Like a painter who chooses a background, who chooses a framework before he starts painting. And this is the introduction for his explanations, and that is about the world and what Allah has done in creation. What is the divine plan of the creation of the world and the creation of the man? And then he explained the position of the pious people and a pious man in this framework. Therefore, the topic of the lesson is needlessness of Allah and need of human being to Allah. This is the very basic point in religion. Imam alayhi salam said, "Amma ba'd, فإن الله سبحانه وتعالى خلق الخلق حين خلقهم غنيا عن طاعتهم آمنا من معصيتهم لأنه لا تضره معصية من عصاه ولا تنفعه طاعة من أطاعه." I read the translation to you. It reads as, "Now then, Allah, the glorified, the sublime, created the things of creation, the whole universe, everything. He created them without any need for their obedience or being safe from their sinning, because the sin of anyone who sins does not harm him, nor does the obedience of anyone who obeys him benefit him. In this short explanation, Imam, peace be upon him, says, God created the creation while he was needless of any benefit reaching him through the obedience of the obedient, of the pious, of the worshippers. So therefore, what is the reason for ordering people and things to worship him is to benefit them. This is the way to benefit. The relation of man to God is the way for blessing and to having human beings and other beings to reach their perfection. Therefore, Allah doesn't receive any benefit, but He benefits. It's one way. God benefits and does not receive any benefit from obedience of people. And from other side, from other perspective, when we look at harm, there is no way for anything to harm God, because Allah is the most perfect, the most powerful. There is no way to penetrate to His holy being and to harm Him. There is no way for nothing, for even including human beings, to harm God through sins. So what happens in sinning God, and why God prohibits sins? Because sins are the way one harms himself. Because sin is harmful to the doer of sin. Therefore, this is a very basic thing and proves that we need to develop and to hold and maintain our relation with God. And that relation is worship. And that relation is to be careful about our actions regarding the commandments of God, and to obey Him and not to disobey God. Why? Because this is the way of our perfection. And sinning is the way of deteriorating and to going down and to being spoiled in the universe. Therefore, this is very basic discussion. It is a very basic point. And if we compare it with humanism, we understand what is the main point in the two schools of thought. The schools of thought of Islam, which Imam Amirul Mu'mineen talks about, in this school, Allah, the most perfect being at the center, is Allah, and human being is the one who receives. And the way of becoming perfect is to establish a certain relationship with God. But in humanism, human being is imagined to be the center of the world, not God. It is imagined that human being has everything, and everything is human being, which is not right. We know that we were not. We were created. We didn't have anything. We were nothing. Then we were bestowed the being. The source that bestowed the being to us is the superior, is the center of everything. This is very basic discussion that as the framework Imam Amirul Mu'mineen talks about at the very outset. Inshallah, God willing, we talk about the rest of the sermon. We continue this discussion in other programs. Be with us in future. Wassalamu alaikum rahmatullah.